Alright boys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Gepard 1A2. Quite late to this one. It's been out for quite a while now. But basically this is a battle rating 8.0 Gepard with 4 Stinger missiles MIG welded onto the side of it basically. It combines the firepower of the original Gepard with the sophistication of the Ocelot, giving you a kind of discount Tunguska for the German tech tree at battle rating 9.7. While we do have a nice boost in firepower, the Gepard 1A2 is still lacking vital features like thermal imaging, and still only carries 40 rounds of the DM23 APDS belt, meaning apart from the addition of the 4 Stinger missiles, its lethality as an SPEA vehicle, and its lethality in its anti-tank role, is largely unchanged from the original Gepard at battle rating 8.0. The pretty underwhelming upgrade package, as well as the very high research cost of 270,000 RP, does make the Gepard 1A2 a little bit of a pain to unlock. It's a lot of grinding for not that much of a tank, at least in my opinion. But if you'd like to know more about this vehicle, then stick around for the rest of the video. One last thing, if you'd like to help the channel grow, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing. Alright lads, welcome back. Starting as always with the engine and mobility, and the Gepard 1A2 is powered by an engine producing 830 horsepower. Combined with the vehicle's weight of 46 tons, gives us a very respectable power to weight ratio of 18 horsepower per ton. For an SPEA vehicle, this is obviously not bad whatsoever, but it isn't that fast compared to a lot of the other vehicles at battle rating 9.7, so you aren't going to be able to speed around like the Tunguska used to be able to do and kind of acts like a support vehicle for your main battle tanks. While it is a discount Tunguska, it very much is a discount one. It's not got the mobility, but for a vehicle that's going to spend most of its time just sat at the back of the map, shooting at random stuff that flies by, the mobility certainly isn't bad. We then have the survivability, and as you'd be able to imagine, this thing is very, very delicate. There isn't really a great way to armor a multiples of $10 million vehicle with sophisticated radar. It's very, very prone to damage both in real life and in game. Whether it's small arms fire or indirect high explosive spam from artillery, you are going to take damage very easily in the Gepard 1A2. If we take a look at this cutaway, we can see that we have a plethora of things to detonate in our vehicle. We've got our main ammunition belts just below the turret ring. We also have the 4 Stinger missiles on the outside of the vehicle. Not massive amounts of explosive, but I guess it could cause an overpressure. We also have the gunner and the commander located inside the fighting compartment, and then a driver in the hull of the vehicle located next to the engine and transmission. The survivability of the Gepard 1A2 is generally pretty bad though. You can't really criticise it for this. No one's thinking that this thing's an absolute mouse or a bloody puma. It's not immune to fire. It's quite easy to kill, especially with high explosive. But if we put the Gepard up against its most likely nemesis, the LAVAD or the LAVAD, using that thing's 25mm HAP belt, we can see that the front of the vehicle is pretty, well, you're going to go straight through it. That thing has 89mm of penetration. The green screen is kind of broken here for some reason. It doesn't show any of the hull, but you can penetrate everywhere really with pretty much no matter what ammunition you're using. So anything over a 50 cal is going to do damage. I've been killed several times from XM1s just 50 calling the turret basically. It goes straight through the radar for some reason and kills your gunner and commander. So again, the survivability is very bad. Even against stuff like 50 caliber rounds, you are incredibly vulnerable. But no one's expecting this thing to be fast or well armoured. So what about the firepower? And is it good at being a self-propelled anti-aircraft vehicle? Is it good at shooting down those annoying bastard drones? Well, seeing that this thing is battle rating 9.7, it is going to be going up against the UAVs, the Orions and that sort of stuff, where it is catastrophically unable to deal with them unless the enemy player is stupid. Now let's go over why. Our primary armament are the 35mm Oerlikon KDAs. These are the same guns as found on the original Gepard at battle rating 8.0. While with the radar of the Gepard, you will get a gun lock at around 4 kilometers, and it will give you a firing solution at that range. But the muzzle velocity of these guns is relatively low, and a plane or a drone has loads of times at 4 kilometers for it to evade and throw off your aim. So using your guns at a range of 4 kilometers is just a non-starter in my opinion. They are more close-in weapon systems, so shooting at Su-25s on the final approach towards you, that sort of stuff. The guns certainly are not long-range weapons. But anyway, we do have pretty good vertical guidance characteristics, 10 degrees of gun depression, usually very good on a tank, not that important on an SPA. We also have 85 degrees of gun elevation, so we can shoot at things pretty much directly above us. The guns are fully stabilised, so you can use this as like a bit of a brawl if you really want to rush into a city and shoot at enemy tanks. But apart from our main gun, we also have, well, our stock belts have APIT as well as HEIT. You also have a armor piercing belt, which is more AP round, and you have a general HE belt, which is more HE. I'd stick to default. The default belt costs you nothing, whereas the AP and the HE belt all cost you silver lines to fire. You may as well just stick with the default belt, one of each, can't go wrong really. We then have the DM23 round. We might have 40 of these rounds. Basically gives us a lot more penetration, 127mm or 5" of pen. Certainly nothing to scoff at. You will go through the side of any Soviet main battle tank with that type of ammunition. As I said, you want to get 40 of these rounds, and yeah, you can't really do much with 40 rounds of ammunition, especially if you get caught and you forget to change your ammunition loadout. You're just going to waste them very easily. So our main guns aren't the best for dealing with fast moving planes, especially at the longer ranges, which we can expect at 9.7. And the Stinger missiles, the FIM-92s, are no different really. Our stock missile is the E variant of that. It's basically an all-aspect missile with a all-aspect lock range of 6 kilometers and a rear aspect of 11 kilometers. The E version of this missile requires a direct hit to actually explode. We also have the K version of the Stinger. This is exactly the same as the E variant, except it is fitted with a proximity fuse warhead, meaning it doesn't need to get a direct hit to actually detonate that warhead. The warheads though are quite small on both variants, only 540 grams of TNT. While this will usually result in a one-hit kill, against some of the heavier vehicles like the Soviet ground attackers, it is likely to just cripple them. This is a bit annoying as a lot of the time it doesn't stop them from actually committing to a gun run or a bomb run. They will be able to drop their weapons, but then kind of just fly off and crash a couple of minutes later or 30 seconds later. So if you actually manage to get a thermal signature lock, the Stingers aren't very effective. But the biggest problem with the Stingers is they're very, very hit or miss in terms of actually getting a... most of the time you don't even pick up a heat signature. Against something like a helicopter or like a Ryan drone, the drones you spawn in with battle points, whatever they're called. Spawn points, I guess. They just will not get a lock range below like 3 kilometers. Same with helicopters, anything below 3 kilometers you will get a lock, but further out than 3 kilometers you're not going to get a lock on a helicopter. Now most helicopters in War Thunder have a maximum standoff range of like 3.7 kilometers minimum, even more if you like the 10.0 or 10.3 Soviet helicopters with the attackers, or god forbid the Vikirs. So the Gepard, kind of like the Ocelot, it's a very mediocre self-propelled anti-aircraft system in my opinion. You don't really have the weapons available to kill people unless they do something stupid like fly directly over the battlefield. It's also made worse by the lack of thermal imaging on the Gepard, something that you would really expect at battle rating 9.7. While this isn't a hard kill system, it doesn't get you kills. Having a thermal imager on a self-propelled anti-aircraft system allows you to find a target so much easier. I think the Ocelot proves that. The thermals on the Ocelot are so good, it allows you to rapidly identify a target by just scanning the sky for a heat signature, whereas the Gepard, you obviously cannot do that. Also would help you to find enemy tanks and just regular matches like a normal tank thermal would. A feature that the Gepard 1A2 does have, and so does the original Gepard, is smoke grenades. I guess that will help some people. You aren't really going to be able to pop smoke if you get hit though and retreat like a good German boy. The old tactic of spamming smoke when you see a 50 cal whiz past you. Well, in a normal German tank that would just scare you, but in a Gepard a 50 cal will probably kill you in a single hit. So it's good to have the smoke grenades, but they're probably not going to be doing that much, to be honest. So is the Gepard 1A2 worth grinding? Well, it does fill a nice gap in the German tech tree in terms of SPA. I think The Ocelot is probably a better anti-aircraft system, mainly because it's smaller, faster, has an IRST which doesn't give the enemy an RWR warning, also has better thermals, and it is armed with the same Stinger missiles basically. While the addition of the 35mm Orlikans are nice, they aren't really that effective at battle rating 9.7 unless an enemy decides to fly stupidly close to the battlefield, in which case basically SPAA from 6.7 would just be as good basically. I am hating on the Gepard a little bit, to be honest. It's not a terrible vehicle, as you've seen from the gameplay, you do get kills with it, but I genuinely think you could argue that the Beg Light Panzer is a better self-propelled anti-aircraft system than this thing. Sure, you don't get Stingers. That's kind of an out there take, to be honest, but I think the Beg Light Panzer, I'd rather take the Beg Light Panzer route than the Gepard. It's better against tanks, and you still have that fantastic 57mm with the proxy fuse warheads. You could say, well, the Beg Light Panzer can't kill enemy vehicles at long range, neither can the Gepard really, so considering this thing's 10.7, you're probably better just playing 10.3 and using the Flak Panzer thing with the Roland 3s. I don't really see why this is 9.7, it could go down to 9.3 very easily. Anyway lads, I know this vehicle came out quite a few months ago and I'm a little bit late to it, but I've been very busy. Again, if you want to support the channel, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing. Be sure to let me know down below in the comments what videos you would like to see me make next. And as always, thank you very much to my YouTube members, you really do help this channel out. And finally, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one lads.